Hello, everybody, and welcome to the entertainment headquarters, and welcome to a very special review featuring two very good friends of mine, people I love to death. We've got Mr. DJ Anubis of the Metal Tavern Radio and his partner in crime, as always, DJ Neko, of course, of the Metal Tavern Radio as well. So, how are you guys doing?
Very, very good. Thank you.
Very, very good. So the reason we're going to do this review is one particular reason. We're all cat owners. We all love our cat. In this film, I had heard nothing about, literally nothing. And then
either.
All of a sudden, there was a lot of buzz around Oscar time. And then somebody said to me, "Oh, you've got to see Flo. How have you not seen Flo, Kevin? You love your cats. You've got 3 beautiful cats. Why have you not seen the film Flo?" And I was like, I have never heard of this. And then as the Oscars approached, I suddenly seen the trailer for it. And I was like, oh my God, this just looks so intriguing. I didn't know if I was going to, really get myself into it off the trailer. It did look interesting. And then I was like, I seen the film and I was hooked. And then I think I messaged you, Neko, and I said, you need to check this movie out. So,
and it appeared on HBO Max, I think, right after the Oscars. So I saved it because I knew he wanted to see it.
Actually, I knew nothing of it.
At all.
Nothing at all.
And I was like, okay, it's a cat thing. He's going to love it. I'm just going to save it. I'm not going to watch it myself. And what was it? It was a couple of days ago. You and I are messaging, Kev. And I was like, this movie is so great. The cat is so adorable. And I'm like messaging you as I'm watching it because it was just so heartwarming, everything about it.
Yeah. So obviously, as Neko and I have said, we are here to review Flo, the Oscar-winning animated movie, and it's well deserved. It deserves the Oscar, in my opinion.
100%.
Yeah. So
and
let's
apparently
talk.
it was an upset. Like apparently it wasn't expected to win, but it did.
Well, because everyone wanted the stereotypical, I can't even remember what animated films were up. I do know, I think Inside Out 2 might have been up for an Oscar now. I did watch Inside Out 2, and I do think that is a good movie. I'm not going to say that. So for this to beat Inside Out 2, for me, well deserved. And yeah, it is quite an upset, but, it's nice to see outside companies or outsiders finally win awards for once. It's like, Disney's kind of had that crown for very, so long. Same with Universal and
Pixar.
You've got DreamWorks Animation. They've all kind of won an Oscar here and there. So to have like an outside company, especially from a smaller country like Latvia, is it Latveria? It's from.
It's Latvia.
Latvia,
I can't remember.
It's a very small country, so the fact that they've created this animated movie that's created such a buzz, that's made its way to the Oscars.
Latvia.
It is Latvia.
Latvia, yeah. The fact that the small unknown, animated studio has made such a big bang, you never know, it might put them on the map.
Then Disney's going to buy them up and ruin it.
Probably, or Paramount or Amazon. One of them might buy it. But let's talk a little bit about Flo. So Flo, which is a Latvian animated movie, adventure film directed by, I'm probably going to butcher the names because my pronunciation is crap. His first name or her first name is Jint Zebalotis. Written and produced by Zipadotis. and Mattis Kaza. A Latvian, French, and Belgian co-production. It features no dialogue and follows a cat trying to survive along with other animals in a seamlessly post-apocalyptic world as the water levels dramatically rise. So basically, that's it. The budget for this film was 3.5 million. The production company was called Dreamwell Studios. And like you say, it was created by Jens Ziabatis. And like you say, it actually made a box office of 20 million US.
Oh, a mega hit.
Yeah, from a budget 3.5 million to make 20 million is, I would say, a success.
For anime, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Now, the thing I love about this, the way the film starts, you just see this playful little cat. This dark grey little cat wandering the forest. Now, the thing is, the film's called Flo, but the cat doesn't actually have a name. But I would like to think we're going to just call the cat Flo.
Yeah, I think that's the interpretation of what the cat's supposed to be called.
Yeah, so the cat... It's the cat's little story about how she, I would imagine, I don't know, I feel like the cat's a female cat, I don't know why.
I do too.
But Flo literally starts off wandering the forest in this. As soon as the film opens up, you see this grand world, but you know it's not the world we live in because one, there's no humans. There seems to be a lot of there's huge forest lands, but then you see
a lot
like
of vegetation and overgrowth.
Yeah, and then you also see like abandoned buildings. You see like them cat statues. So clearly, wherever Flo lives, she clearly lives in an area where the population, these ancient civilizations, worship cats. And it starts off where she's basically just wandering the forest, and suddenly you hear a group of dogs bark, and the dogs basically chase after. Like, I think they're chasing after a hare or a rabbit that's wandering and come across Flo. And what ends up happening, she kind of, escapes the dogs. And as she's walking along, you suddenly see the water in the riverside near her starting to kind of jolt around, and you hear like the thunderous of something in the background, which leads to the water suddenly overflowing and heading towards her, and she's swept up by the water, which straight away I was like, oh, they're going to kill a cat. The cat's
that's what we said too. We're like, please don't kill any of these animals. Please don't kill them.
The cat's going to die straight away, and it's like it will end the credits. And next thing you know, the cat ends up surviving, and you also see a dog. The group of dogs, there's a golden retriever that's among this dog pack, who you see gets swept away, and immediately you say, oh, the dog's dead. They've killed the dog straight away, and then later on you find out that she gets back and she finds her way back to this abandoned home.
I think I would want to say that was her house at one time. Like, maybe.
Well, I think we were kind of determined that whoever was human there was carving the statues, and the cat was probably one of theirs that was there. So that's why the cat hung around. She would go through the
window and lay on the bed like she was waiting every day for her human to come back.
Make it I know this is an animal-based animation, but it makes you wonder it does open your eye. It makes you open your eyes and ask a lot of what ifs or what's happened, because you want to know what's actually happened to the human civilization.
I have a theory, but I'll get to that when we get a little further into the story, because they leave it open so you can have an interpretation. But I do have a theory, because you don't see any humans, and the interactions are with the animals, and we're also starting to see how the animals are surviving. They're learning and getting smart enough to figure out how are they going to survive. at first, at this point when the water is rising and she gets home, but then the water starts rising again, you see she's being a cat. She just keeps going higher and higher. And then she gets scared because just like a cat climbing a tree, she can't figure out how to get down. And she's like really scared. And that was the one thing that blew me away, was how they really captured the mannerisms and the little face and the emotion of what a cat would do.
Yeah, very true. So what ends up happening is after she survives, you had these, pack of dogs that were chasing after this animal, this hare or rabbit, and the overflow of the water first hits. The dogs are separated because you have the other pack of dogs on the other side of the river, but the one dog that we're kind of falling in love with, which is the golden retriever, ends up on the same side of the river as Flo the cat. And the next thing you know, because Flo is he basically takes a liking to Flo. And he follows it, and he's very playful, he's very loving, he's over.
Rolling over, trying to look at her.
He's such a loving cat. And this starts like this you didn't realize, but it starts like this friendship among the cat and the dog. And the next thing you know, as they're sitting there and it turns to nightfall, when Flo wakes up the next day, you look out at the grass and the gardens around her home, and you can see there's like patches of flood water, and then as the dog's circling around the house looking for Flo, you see that the water slowly starting to rise. You actually see the bottom of the house, and there's it's starting to leak through the wood floorboards of the house. So immediately, straight away, something's happening, and then the next thing you know, the entire world around her and the golden retriever is flooded. But how she manages to survive is, as she's walking along, she does find like a boat, and she jumps into the boat, which seems to flow along. And this is where she goes on a huge adventure around this new water-filled world. And she goes and she meets a handful of other characters.
I love the capybara. I thought that was adorable that they brought a capybara in. They're such friendly, cute animals.
So this is the group that ends up becoming friends. You obviously have the capybara, you have a lemur, you have the golden retriever. They also meet this amazing bird,
Secretary Bird.
Yeah, who I was absolutely heartbroken over the bird. I'm not going to lie with what ends up happening with the bird. So basically,
well, I was mad about what Bird Friends did to the bird. Like I was really, that was bullshit.
Yeah. So as the adventure between Flo happens, as she meets all these random different animal characters, and the waters overflow, they're going through like the oceans to find like this giant whale. And this obviously is another reason why you find this is like a futuristic world or another world. Is that yes, it's a whale, but it doesn't look like a normal whale. It has like unique body parts to it, which I'm going to show you.
I said to Anubis, I was like, at first, because you saw the fins at the top, I'm like, oh, it's Godzilla. Godzilla's coming.
Yeah. So
I love this whale. When Flo first got swept up, he just helped her real nicely get back up.
So because when there were so many moments where you're full of tension, where you thought the cat was gonna die.
Can't kill my cat.
Yeah, and you've got beautiful moments where the cat is nearly swept away and she gets herself back onto the boat.
It does a little shake. Look at that face.
She learns how to fish.
Yeah.
There's just so many amazing moments when it comes to Flo. But for me, as it starts off, you meet these these animals, and then it gets to a place where they end up on some land, and that's when they first meet the bird. But the bird is surrounded by, I guess, our bird kindreds,
flock,
our flock, our family, and she takes a liking. The bird takes a liking to Flo, but I guess the leader of the bird flock doesn't want to basically peck the hell out of Flo, wants to, sees her as food or whatever. And the other bird basically protects her. And unfortunately for the bird is suddenly attacked by the leader of the flock. And now, the wings are damaged where it gets to the point it can no longer fly. Which is, I was like, you bastard.
right?
But I'm assuming that the leader of the pack was showing its dominance towards.
Oh yeah.
Showing its dominance, showing it was.
And
the
I
leader.
think that had the younger one won, it would have gained control of the flock. I think that was the whole point of it, trying to stand up to the leader, but the leader still beat it.
Yeah. So because now the bird's damaged, the bird ends up joining the rest of the animals, and it ends up becoming, I guess, a part of the crew of this sailing boat that is, making its way through the oceans and seeing everything going on around it.
I love how smart that they figured out how to use the rudder, to steer the ship. It was adorable. I'm like, oh, they figured it out.
Yeah. And as it's sailing through this, apocalyptic world, what I also loved about this is the fact that you got every time one of the animals on the boat was getting tired, another one would deliberately take over and help sail the boat. And I just thought that was really great that, they actually were working as like a unit, as a family of animals.
They're a crew.
Yeah, and there was even that one point where the golden retriever, he has the barking of the other dogs. And he looks up and it's where that bell tower is, and it's kind of sailing past them, and it's like the golden retriever wants to go, but then the bird's steering the boat, so the bird doesn't allow them to go. To them.
Yeah, I was like, don't pick them up. Don't pick them up. Yeah. They're going to be a problem. And they were. Yeah. They were a problem.
Yeah,
they ate all the fish that Flo had gotten.
Mm-hmm. It also gets to the point as well where they hit some water, and when they hit the water, the bird suddenly finds a way it learns how to fly again, and it basically flies off. And when it flies off, it leaves Flo and the others behind. Yeah. And this is where it hits like this, like a buoy, and I think does Flo not get knocked out, and she has to grab onto that round ball?
Yeah,
because she was up on top of the mast. Remember, she climbed all the way up to the top.
That actually happened after the gravity sequence. When she's trying to get back out to the boat, she has to grab onto the whatever it was, glass float or whatever it was that the dog was playing with.
Oh yeah, and the lemur had all that.
Lemur liked to collect things.
Love that mirror, man.
I was really angry that bird kicked it overboard.
Speaking of cats, I'm going to let my cat in the room because my Logan is meowing. 1 second.
Uh-oh. Come on in, Logan. I wonder if Logan would climb up and be able to survive like that. Do you think our cats could survive out in the wild like that at all?
Cats are more durable than you think.
I just we'll see. I feel like Neko, our cat Neko, would be able to survive like Flo, but our cat Hazel, I don't know. I
think she could.
I don't know.
She'd use her sweetness. You.
And then what? Then one of the big dogs eats her.
Nah.
Hazel is.
She'll fight if she needs to.
No, she doesn't. Neko bosses her around all day.
Don't be fucking throwing my cat under the bus.
I love Hazel. Hazel's the sweetest thing in the world. She's like a
Well-
little cream puff, but
Well-
she is not an alpha cat.
Well, my Logan's just sitting here purring away.
I see his tail.
He is soft. He is the softest cat you could ever meet, aren't you, son?
I love him. See, this is why we're reviewing Flo, because we love our cats so much, and I feel like the thing that oh, hi, buddy.
Logan.
I honestly just like the mannerisms that and the eyes and the little ears.
Well, I read that because one thing I love about this film is the soundtrack is really effective.
Oh,
Mhm.
the
What's going on.
music is amazing.
And so, like, I read that the composers for each creature, the music was matching their sound that they would make, which I didn't really catch. So now I gotta watch it again.
Yeah, now we have to watch it again.
But for each animal, it was doing the music was like using their sound that they would make somehow. So that was kind of interesting because I didn't pick up on it first.
I
but,
didn't either, so I'm glad you shared that little tidbit.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of a
That
cool
is
thing.
really cool.
Mhm.
This
It-
is
it-
just such heartwarming. Like that's all I can keep saying about this movie is it's heartwarming.
Yeah. But it gets to the point where they reach this abandoned city, and Flo, because she's now been, she's been separated from the other animals, she ends up going up the ruins of this ancient city. And when she reaches the top of the city, she finds the bird. And the bird, and she finds the bird just waiting. And then as she's waiting, there's this glowing force which kind of sweeps them up. And the bird ascends to like this ancient, just ascends into this other realm, and Flo's left just floating around, which,
Mhm.
and then
With the little face.
Flo ends up obviously coming back to the ground, and then it's like the next day, and she manages to find a way to get back to the other animals. Which
So
But that's my theory for that, and we were talking about it.
So
Is
this is like this is my theory. I don't know if it's the same thing I'm gonna say, but like if you noticed around those ruins, there was like hundreds of boats, right?
yeah,
I think that's how the humans left the world. I don't know if it's necessarily like the bird died or the humans died. I think that the humans that figured out that they could get to this like ancient mountain could get to the top of that mountain and they could ascend. Whether it's ascending to another world or ascending to heaven.
that's not what I took it as.
Oh, that's what I was taking it as. Like, because
I thought it was like a moment of where both the bird and the cat were facing death, and the bird ended up dying and going to whatever animal heaven, while the cat, I guess, had unfinished business and was left, dropped down. So Flo dropped down.
well, it could. I mean, I don't know why Flo wasn't ascending. Maybe it wasn't her time to ascend, kind of like that. But I mean, obviously the humans figured out about this ancient ruin because there were so many boats around it. So maybe that's how some of the humans left the world. Either, I mean, we could go crazy and say it was aliens, like they went to another world or another realm, or they went to heaven. But I think that was the vessel of how the humans left the earth.
Yeah. I think the humans have died out or something, or the area that they're living in, they knew there was going to be this mass flood, so they've had to evacuate. And obviously they've had to leave everything behind, including the animals that they love, because it just feels very weird how you've got houses just abandoned, boats just laying about, but the animals that they all love and that are still all around. So it makes me feel like they couldn't take everything with them, including their pets. So maybe that's another idea, that they've had to just abandon while they knew this mass flood was about to arrive and hit. Because it just feels weird how Flo's just sleeping in this house and acting, if I left my house for even an hour and I came back, my cats would be at the door. The fact that she just seems to be at ease, that there's no one around, makes me feel like they've either been away for a while or she's just used to being on her own.
So yeah, it seems like most people think that my theory is correct.
Like your theory is correct?
The symbolism, the scene can be interpreted as the bird's death of ascension to a higher plane with a bright light representing the afterlife. And then, of course, it says the cat, having witnessed the bird's departure, continues its journey, finding other animals and the whale, and simply understands the natural order of life and death.
Mm-hmm. Well, I read the movie explores themes of loss, bravery, bonding, and the balance of life.
Mm-hmm.
With the whale serving as a symbol of hope and resilience. Which leaves us to the next part where after they are reunited with the other animals, and we've seen the whale a couple of times, it gets to the point where they're heading towards, I guess, just sealing the area where all of a sudden the water starts to reside. And when the water starts to reside, they start basically crashing through trees. Floor's obviously separated from the other animals, and everything basically crashes back down to earth. Floor ends up in an area basically where, like you see, this forest area of lots of greenery, lots of, habitation, and all of a sudden she meets a group of lemurs. She instantly thinks it's her lemur, but it's not her lemur, I don't think. Or it is her lemur, but he's like rekindled with other lemurs, because I do think you see other lemurs earlier in the film. I think
they were on like a little island or something, and he couldn't get to them.
They were on a boat, I think. They were on their own boat, and the other lemur couldn't get across because that lemur was stuck on Flo's boat. So they obviously are the same lemurs that's reconnected. But then obviously, because he hadn't connected with them lemurs, the next thing you know, because that didn't happen, when Flo decides to walk away and look for the other animals, the lemur decides to leave that group of lemurs and rejoin Flo and reconcile with Flo, which was nice to see that the lemur sticking by Flo. And that leads to the final part of the move where basically, they find the boat had all the animals on like hanging on the branch of a massive tree
that was scary.
Yeah, over some giant ravine, which was tumbling down. And the last, I think, is it the last animal in the? Is it the capybara? Was it the golden retriever?
Yep. That's capybara.
Yeah, and they were trying to save the capybara, and they had the dogs even who were just But soon as the dogs see a hare or another rabbit, they chase after it and just abandon them. And the next, they have to they basically get all the dogs joined together. And sorry, not the dogs, the golden retriever, everyone band together to save the capybara, and at last minute
didn't Flo grab the rope and bring it back down so that they could pull.
Yeah. And then they're able to save the capybara just as the boat that they had sailed in all this time falls and smashes to the ground. And then you get to the final scene of the film, which I always found just truly bizarre, but also kind of leaves the whole film open as Flo and all that us kind of happy that they're together, they're alive. They come across, unfortunately, the poor whale that is being beached on the ground below. So the whale, is in the same position as the other animals, that he or she is out of its territory and has nowhere to go and is struggling, but it kind of leaves it on a very somber note. But at least Flo's still alive.
I
was sad about Whaley.
Yeah, but it's like a moving thing because again the cat knows the role that the whale played in helping her and just being throughout the movie, and so she goes up and she kind of starts to understand that the whale's not going to survive out on land, so she starts purring to try to soothe the whale while it's passing. And so it's like a really sad and somber feeling there. And then, of course, she goes back and she's looking at the puddle of water, and then all the animals come and they're looking at each other. And I think that's very cool, where they're kind of like in their own way is understanding that they're all different, but they somehow found a way to bond as friends throughout this journey that they were on.
Definitely. And if you want to, know the next part of what happens in the movie without spoiling, wait till the end of the credits.
We didn't watch that, but I did read it, so I know what happens.
I looked it up.
But the thing is, though, like, how do they even know it's the same one?
Well, you need to watch it.
The Circle of Life.
Yes. But altogether, though, what's your overall thoughts on Flow? Like, it blew me away. That's why as soon as I seen it, I messaged Neko, said, you've got to see this film.
Oh, 10 out of 10. Absolutely perfect. I'll watch it 8,000 times every single time. It's made for me. It's made for me. Like, the movie was made.
It's made for me.
Everything about
it's mine.
Like, all I did was like get teary-eyed, and it was beautiful. What do you think?
Yeah, I loved it. Again, I didn't know much about it until Kevin told Neko about it, and then watching it, I really like it. The soundtrack, again, like, you can take sometimes, like, if this movie had any other kind of soundtrack, it'd be decent, but the soundtrack really moves it along. And the thing is, like, I will own this because I really like it, but like, it's one of those movies that you're gonna have to really be in the mood to watch, because it's not really a super happy movie. Like, there's a lot of trauma and stuff going on, a lot of negative things, but it shows the perseverance of the animals to get by and get through it. But you have to actually be in a mood, because even when I was listening to the soundtrack on YouTube, I'm like, oh, my heart's just like crushing, because I can remember the scenes that I'm watching. I'm like, so you just have to really be in a very mood to kind of watch that kind of film. But yeah, 10 out of 10, easy.
Yeah. What do you think of the animation style? Because obviously it's not high-tech animation like Pixar or
I thought it was great. I think it's a nice throwback, really.
Yeah, it reminded me of like the PlayStation kind of animation, but like it works
or like
a
less detailed of, like, it's like less detailed than The Land Before Time, but it has that very vibe about it.
Yeah, definitely. Like I remember my brother had a Dreamcast, Sega Dreamcast, and the animation style reminds me of the Dreamcast. But there was a lot of amazing games for the Dreamcast. There was it's the music as well. It reminds me of this Japanese or Chinese game that was on the Dreamcast. I forgot what it was called, where you followed this man's journey to find the love of his life who's gone missing, and he goes through this big adventure. And the game ended as part 1. It was, you got the end, and it's the end of part 1. So I don't know if they even released a part 2, because I don't know if the game did well, but it's the music, the story, it wasn't like action-packed game. It was just you had to go around this world and find the clues and unsolve the mysteries, but you had little animation sequences like this in the game, and it just pulled at your heartstrings. But it's as weird as it does that, it also was very relaxing.
Yes.
Smooth and it wasn't hard to follow. It was just a very easy to follow movie. And like you say, I'm gonna give this 10 out of 10, especially for an unknown animated studio from a very small country that's now made a very big splash.
Yeah,
now
I'm looking forward to what they do next. That was really good.
I mean, they could. You have a point, Kevin. They could make a game out of this, and it would sell 1 billion copies, easily.
Well, it feels like they've taken a computer game, and then as they're busy putting together a computer game, they've used the animation from the game and they've wired all the scenery into one flowing movie. And it
I'm sorry, go ahead.
It just syncs so well, you know what I mean? And it flows it literally flows very well together.
I was reading about the director. It started off, I think, as like a college project. Like he had a short version of Flow and just expanded on it and clearly did a great job, because, you know, we would have never seen this movie if not for him to take a chance and release it. And, you know, that small animation studio taking a chance to develop this. And
so yeah, the team was very adamant in getting all the voices to be done by real animals. They recorded real animals. However, the real capybara sounds did not match the personality that the capybara character would have, so instead they used a baby camel for this one.
Capybaras are kind of lazy. Like they just like to float and snooze and be friends.
The budget of the film was so tight, there are no deleted scenes from the film. Every scene produces a final cut of the movie.
Oh wow!
Oh, that's brilliant. Cool. That's brilliant. It makes you wonder, though, if you look back at the likes of Toy Story, you know, how much stuff was left on the cutting room floor. You know, like I love the first.
Once they got to 2 and 3 and beyond, you know.
Like I love the
first independent film to win an Academy Award for Best Animated Film. So first independent one to do this. That's pretty impressive.
That is very impressive.
Very, very, like you say, nobody saw it coming to win. But obviously people who saw this like us must have just fell in love with the animals. And also it's nice for them to make a change that they've actually given Outsider the opportunity to shine. Similar to, I guess, I know we're kind of always going to have a grumble about what happened with -1, Godzilla -1. That, for me, I'm over the moon Godzilla won his first Oscar. And won it for best special effects, but I genuinely believe that movie should have been up for best international picture.
I think so too.
Should have been best picture. I'm not even swaying from that. I think the story again is so strong that if you took Godzilla out of it, you'd still enjoy the hell of that whole like redemption arc.
Yeah. Be interesting what we're going to get with -1 Part 2 or whatever the hell the next movie's going to be. But like we say, 10 out of 10. We'll love our little Flo. She's gorgeous. An amazing movie with amazing cast of animals. What more could you want? Mr. DJ Anubis, what is coming up on the Metal Tavern Radio next?
So later tonight, Olvin and I will do another Silver Screen Savant. We're doing 1988's Action Jackson. Then next week, right now I've got a couple things lined up. I've got The Ghouls of Midnight with Mr. Tony the Dead Release for his pick, which will be Hard Eyes, which I know you've seen.
I need to see that because
then you can join us because it's going to be that day. But you're going to be busy though. You won't be there at 1. So unfortunately,
that's my thoughts.
Then Thursday, I will get together with Mr. Anthony Jordan as we do our Kaiju Spotlight for Batra. And then, of course, Friday, as these two know here with me, that will be my Versus pre-birthday celebration.
Birthday celebration
for Tales of Halloween versus Trick or Treat 2007. Battle of Anthologies. I've got a nice panel of people that are going to be a part of that, so it's going to be a lot of fun. And then Saturday, I believe you're part of the Godzilla and Gigan with Century. And then, of course, later in the evening, we have a special guest on Silver Screen Savants will be Geek from the Tokusatsu Action Land to celebrate his birthday. So he got to choose the film we were watching would be 1980's The Fog. And I believe Anthony Jordan is going to be a part of that as well.
And I do have the winner already for the Versus.
I'm on your side too. I'm Team Trick or Treat.
I'm sorry. You're gonna lose, baby. You're gonna lose.
I don't think so. I think, unfortunately, Anthony and I are probably going to be in the minority. But even after we watched it the other night, again, watching both, I still feel strong about my pick. Like Trick or Treat is very lovely. It's very shot well. I like she said, I like the comic aspects of it, but it doesn't have enough substance. Just doesn't have enough substance.
I think I just we'll get to that next Friday.
Mm-hmm.
We're not gonna. This is about flow.
We're gonna sell it all there.
Yeah, yes. And as for me in the entertainment headquarters on the 27th, I will be doing my next classic kaiju review and kaiju connections. I'm going to be doing Space Amoeba, and I do believe on the Sunday we are going. Is it this Sunday? We're going to be doing the next. It's either this Sunday. Not this Sunday, the one after.
It's the 23rd, yeah.
Yeah, after the 23rd, sorry, we're going to be doing the next cinematic synergy, which is going to be Highlander, which I'm looking forward to that.
And I think Anthony's going to be a part of that one too.
Yes.
Is that on Centuries?
No, it's on my channel.
It's on your channel?
That's my show. Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's my pick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rebecca's already like, I got to make arrangements.
I might have to make arrangements.
I do have on the 28th, though, I am going to be joining Samurai and Rick Myers again for another episode of Action Film Autopsy. So that's on the 28th. That's fun. Yeah.
Yes, well, on the 5th of April, Samurai will be joining me on my channels when we do a review of it's called The Blind Samurai 1 and 2. We're going to be doing that double bill, which I'm really looking forward to, because if you haven't seen those movies, oh my God, you are in for a treat. They are some of the best samurai movies I've ever seen, like modern samurai movies. Yeah, you'll love them.
Cool.
So that is what I've got coming up, and there's a lot more, but I'll keep you tuned in with what's coming on the entertainment headquarters. But for me, my two amazing guests, Mr. DJ Anubis, I'm
a man.
It's a man, baby.
I can't help it. I'm a man now.
Mrs. DJ Neko from the Metal Tavern Radio will catch us all on the next one. Keep on enjoying your movies. Keep on enjoying all things entertainment. Catch us all. See yous.